Hey guys, welcome back to Wolfstead Forge. Today we're going to forge a steel rose. In a previous video I showed you how I lay out all the petal designs and all that stuff in the sheet metal, and today I've got them cut out and we're going to forge it up. So stick with me and I'll show you how I do it. Alrighty, in a previous video, titled something along the lines of how to lay out a steel rose, I showed you how I actually lay out all the pieces that are going to become the petals for my roses. And here you can see I've cut them out on the bandsaw. What we're going to do next, each one of these has a hole in it. It's drilled one size below 3/16, which I forget what it is, 5/3 I think it is, I forget. So the next step is I'm going to take this 3/8 round stock, I'm going to forge this down so it's about half this thickness. I'm going for roughly about 3/16 of an inch, and I only need it to be about ½ inch long. But what I want is I want a nice sharp 90-degree shoulder on it, just like this, right? Sticking up like that, but just a nice sharp shoulder. And to do that, I've created this monkey tool. That's what a monkey tool is for. It's got a 3/16 hole in here. I'm going to draw a taper on this, run it down a little bit, and I'm going to take my monkey tool when this is good and hot and drive this on the end of it and create a 90-degree shoulder here. Now I only need about a ½ inch of material sticking out of here. That is going to go through the holes at the bottom of these plates. I'm going to drive them onto this, and it's going to become a rivet. I'm going to take my torch, heat up the end of it, and forge it down into a rivet to hold all of these petal sections onto what's going to become the stem very tightly and very securely. But before I actually rivet it down, I'm going to forge this out, draw it out a little bit more, make it thinner, give it a bit of texture, and make it look more like a natural rose stem. So, into the forge we go. Shoulder set down, what I want to do is squish this down just behind it. So it's thinner down here, just behind where I have this little bulbous spot there. Reason being, because on a real rose petal, that's kind of how it looks. When you look at the stem, it kind of swells out just a little bit before the petals actually erupt off the stem. I'm using the round face of my hammer and the round side of my horn right here. The reason why I say the round side of my horn is the top of mine is a little bit on the flat side. That's just the way the sandal was made. So if I got a round face here and a round face here, I can squish this material out more quicker. Get a nice round squishy shoulder, round slopey shoulder like that real easy. So now that I've got that, I'm taking pains to not make this perfectly round, because real rose stems are not perfectly round. They have little odd bits to them, little flat spots, and they're mostly round, but they're not perfectly round. It's a natural, that's a natural thing. So nothing is perfectly round and nothing is perfectly straight in nature ever. So what I'm going to do now that I've got this end set, I'm going to work this entire piece all along the horn with the round side of my hammer and the round side of the horn. Just squish this out, draw this out, make this thinner, a little bit longer, and give it more of a natural texture all the way along. I'm going to carry this all the way along until I get about the length I want. Then I'll chop it off and we'll put the petals on. Alright, there we have it. I'm going to taper this end a little bit, but we got some nice variation there, a little bit of hints of ridges and little bits of flat spots and little bits of inconsistencies in the thickness, and that's exactly what I want. Nothing in nature is perfectly straight, nothing is perfectly round, nothing is perfectly flat. Everything's got variation to it, so that's what I want. I want a more natural looking stem. Next, the petals. Alright, now that we have our stem forged out, the next thing to do is to take all of our petal sections, like all these guys here that we cut out previously, templated and all that good stuff. I'm going to texture them using a cross-peen hammer that I forged in a previous video that I will link in the description below. So, the way we do this is pretty simple. Let's start with one of the little guys just to get them out of the way. Lay this little guy down here. If you can see this, now that I've used the cross peen on it, it's got all these little divots all the way in here, and it's kind of spread out and fanned out and given variation to this edge here. We want to do that to all of the petals all the way around. A quick note about technique. This plane of my cross peen hammer is flat. If I were to bring this down straight flat onto this, what I'm going to end up getting is divots the shape of this side of my cross peen into the leaf, like that, right? With a little bit of cross peening to go along with it. And this will show up on the other side. You don't really want that. You want to try to angle the hammer this way just a bit. Not so you're landing flat, but so you're just a little bit here, right? Just enough so you can make little textures like this without leaving these dented divots in it, which I can get rid of by doing that. So just a little bit, but you don't want to go too far this way, because if you do, you're just going to bounce off your anvil, and you know, if you hit it hard enough, put dings in it. So you want to be, if you were to lay your hammer like this and just let it rest, that's kind of the angle you want. Just bring it over here a little bit. Just kind of work it like that. And you could hear when I had my angle too far this way and I was hitting my angle too far this way and was hitting my anvil face. You can actually hear it. And you can see, once in a while, there's a little divot, like right there, where I had my hammer angle just a little flat. Nobody's perfect. You're never going to get it perfect, but you can strive towards working on keeping this at that decent angle so you can get nice texturing without getting too many big, huge divots that'll show up on the other side of your leaf when you fold it up. There we go. So you can see the difference between the nice even ones and the ones where I get just a little bit of bite from the edge of my hammer. You want to try to avoid that. On we go. Alright, now that we have all of our nice pieces textured out, we're going to set them onto our stem. As you can see, I've set this one already, using our monkey tool, because the holes in here are just a little bit smaller than I've set this down. And I did that on purpose so they're in there nice and tight. So we set that on there. So to the side, put our monkey tool on, gently tap this down. Oops. Alright. Now we got this sitting here nice and tight against the stem and against our shoulder that we created earlier. So, our next biggest piece, so on and so forth. One thing to note, which I kind of skipped over earlier, when you're layering up your petals, wherever you have a slot on one side, you want to offset it so your leaf is covering it, or your petal, your next petal is covering that slot, so they're all overlapped. Another reason for the swell in the stem is once you get this stacked up like this, obviously all these plates aren't really flat all that much anymore. You have a lot more solid surface to put it in a vise and drive against. As you can hear there, to get them all set down like this. So now that I have these all stacked up, I'm going to take my torch and a ball peen hammer that I forged in a previous video, which I'll also link below. And I'm going to heat up the end of this, and I'm going to turn it into a rivet to squish all this down and hold it permanently together. Okay. Now that we have our rivet set, and our leaves are all in here nice and tight, where they're not going to wiggle around, I've got all of my little petals offset in a pretty natural pattern. They're not perfectly offset. They're not exact opposite each other. They're just a little overlapping all the way around. Now we're going to heat them up, one by one. Take our scrolling tongs here and bend them up, and then kind of shape them and make them look more natural, as much as we can. Okay, I still have one petal kicked off to the side. There's a reason for that, which I'll show you in a second. We're going to go back over here to the anvil, refine a couple things. Before we get to refining, firstly, it simply wouldn't be complete if I did not sign my work. I think right about there is going to look good. Alright, that'll do. And I have my touch mark on the leaf, although you're looking at it upside down. Take my torch here. There we go. I think that's pretty much all that's going to happen to this, except for maybe a little wire brushing. That's about it. Alright guys, there you have it. That's how I forge my steel roses. So, I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, by all means, drop them in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. And consider subscribing to my channel, like, share on your social media. The more this spreads, the more I can continue my channel. So, thanks for watching guys, and have a great day.